Imagine you wake up at 67. You've worked for over 40 years, and your pension pays you £958 a month. That is what the full state pension pays right now, £958 a month. And 43% of UK workers are not even on track for that. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why millions of UK workers are heading for a retirement crisis, what the system did not tell you about your pension, and, the most important part, exactly what to do about it today. Even if you have never once checked your pension in your life. Someone is 36 years old. They've worked since their early 20s, never missed a bill, never missed work, got auto-enrolled into a pension 5 years ago and assumed that meant they were sorted. They have never logged in once. They do not know what it is invested in. They do not know what fees it charges. They do not know what it might actually pay them when they stop working. And the terrifying part is this: someone is normal. That is the retirement crisis. Most people think pensions work like this. You work hard, money goes in, time passes, everything sorts itself out. But the numbers tell a completely different story. The median pension pot in the UK across all ages is £32,700. That is not enough to retire on. It is not even close. And this is where the gap begins. The full state pension right now is £11,502 per year, about £958 a month. But even the minimum retirement standard needs more than that alone provides. There is already a shortfall of roughly £1,427 a year before someone has even paid rent, heated their home, or bought food. And when most people picture retirement, they are not picturing survival. They are picturing freedom, a few holidays, helping family, a car that still works, heating without checking the thermostat first. That is what most people think they are building towards. But listen to what auto-enrollment actually produces. Someone starts saving into a workplace pension at 22. Average salary, minimum contributions, nothing unusual. By retirement, they might accumulate around £180,000. And £180,000 sounds massive until you understand what it actually means. At roughly a 4% withdrawal rate, that pension produces around £7,200 a year. Add the state pension, and suddenly the total retirement income becomes around £18,700 per year, after over 40 years of work. And this is the part nobody says out loud. Is that what you imagined retirement would look like? Because most people never actually calculate the number. They just assume the system already did. And here is the number that should stop everyone watching this video. The median pension pot for someone aged 35 to 44 right now is £37,000. But the target for that age range is between £75,000 and £112,000. Most people in their 30s are not slightly behind. They are around halfway behind. And most have absolutely no idea. Then it gets worse. The median pension pot for people aged 60 to 64 is around £75,000. And most people need somewhere between £370,000 and £600,000 for the kind of retirement they actually imagine. That gap is not a statistic. That gap is years of someone's future. And while all this is happening, the state pension age is rising. 66 today, 67 between 2026 and 2028, likely 68 in the 2040s. Millions of people are going to work longer than they planned because the numbers simply do not work otherwise. And here is the part that changes this from a personal problem into something bigger. Because someone was never really taught how this system worked in the first place. Most workers get auto-enrolled into a default pension fund, That sounds reassuring. Default, safe, handled. But almost nobody gets told what that fund charges, what it invests in, or what those charges quietly do over 40 years. So let's take the exact same person. Same salary, same contributions, same markets, same 40 years. At a 0.5% annual fee, their pension becomes roughly £465,000. At 1%, it becomes £406,000. At 1.5%, it becomes £355,000. That is a £110,000 difference. Not because they saved less, not because the market crashed, because of a number most people have never even seen. A fee, a tiny percentage, quietly draining wealth for 40 years. And finding out what fee you are actually paying is absurdly difficult. Logins, documents, annual statements, buried terminology, old portals that barely work. Most people give up. And when millions of people do not understand what they are paying, that is not a coincidence anymore. Then there is the lost pension problem. And honestly, this part sounds fake until you realize how normal it is. The average UK worker has 11 jobs during their lifetime. Every job can leave behind a pension pot. Someone changes address, changes email, changes job again. The statements stop arriving. The pension disappears into the background of life, and eventually, it is forgotten. Right now, there are an estimated 3.3 million unclaimed pension pots in the UK, worth over £31 billion. Average value, £9,470. 1 in 3 people could have a pension they do not even know exists. Think about how insane that sentence is. People worked for that money, earned that money, contributed to that money, and then lost track of it because the system made forgetting easy. Martin Lewis has warned millions of people could have lost pensions worth around £10,000 each. And then there is another uncomfortable truth most people never hear about. Women aged 55 to 59 have median pension wealth of £81,000. For men the same age, it is £156,000, a 48% gap. And in defined contribution schemes, the gap becomes even wider. Not because women worked less hard, because many women take career breaks for caring responsibilities during the exact years compounding matters most. Your 30s are not just earning years, they are compounding years. A missed contribution at 32 costs far more than a missed contribution at 57. And the pension system was largely designed around uninterrupted full-time employment. Most real lives do not look like that. And this is normally where videos like this end. Fear, statistics, hopelessness. But this is the part Pete actually made this video for. Because most people do not need perfection. They need awareness and a plan. So here is what someone does next. First, check the pension. Not tomorrow, not next month, tonight. Most people watching this video have never logged into their pension. That is the first problem to solve. Find the provider, log in, look at 3 things. How much is in there, what it is invested in, what fee it charges. That is it. 10 minutes. Because right now, your pension is probably one of the biggest financial assets you own, and most people understand it less than their Spotify subscription. Then search for lost pensions. The government has a free pension tracing service on gov.uk. Search Pension Tracing Service. Enter old employer names. That is all. Considering 1 in 3 people may have a pension they forgot about, and the average lost pot is worth £9,470, This might genuinely be one of the highest-paying 10-minute tasks someone ever does. Then understand the fee. Not guess, not assume, know it. A low-cost global index fund through an SIPP will often charge around 0.1% to 0.25%. If someone is paying 0.75% or more, that difference over decades can quietly become tens of thousands of pounds. Pete is not telling anyone what to invest in. Pete is telling people to stop being financially blind. Then increase contributions, because the minimum 8% contribution was never designed to create a comfortable retirement. Even the commission that designed auto-enrollment originally expected contributions to rise toward 12% to 15%. So if someone earns £35,000, an extra 1% contribution is around £29 per month. That is the cost of a few takeaways. But over decades, that extra 1% compounds massively. And salary sacrifice makes it even stronger. Because pension contributions through salary sacrifice reduce income tax and national insurance simultaneously. For higher-rate taxpayers, that becomes an immediate effective 40 to 45% boost. Then check the national insurance record. Almost nobody does this. But missing years can be bought for around £824 each. And each missing year bought adds roughly £329 per year to the state pension for life. That usually pays for itself in under 3 years. 5 minutes on gov.uk could literally increase retirement income forever. And suddenly the whole picture changes. Because the pension system is not completely broken. But it was never designed to work automatically without attention. That was the lie people accidentally absorbed, that paying in was enough. The pension system got people saving, but it did not get them saving enough. It did not explain the fees, it did not help people find lost pots, and it never properly explained that the minimum contribution was only ever meant to be the starting point. But now you know. And once you know, you cannot really ignore it anymore. If this video made you think differently about your future, subscribe to Pound Smart Pete.